Star Trek: The Next Generation was a show. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Everybody I interacted with. A show that I started watching when I was a really little kid. Can you believe it's been 30 years? Star Trek: The Next Generation first.
Star Trek: The Next Generation was my life.
I really grew up with this show.
My relationship to how I should conduct myself. It was the escape from reality. Welcome to Next Generation's First Generation, where Patrick Delmore and Sascha Shouties take a look back into their favorite childhood show, Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is where we attempt to reconcile how we felt as children watching the show and looking back as old farts now in our late 30s, almost 40s. Guests, social commentary, and good old-fashioned shade-throwing on our favorite and least favorite episodes. Here comes Patrick and Sascha. That's what happened to Star Trek. They didn't write their Bible. They wrote the episodes, and then the Bible started to become canon when they started cross-referencing past mentioned facts.
Yep. DS9 had a Bible, I know that for sure.
Next Generation had one too.
Well, they sure did a crappy job following it.
So Next Generation's first 3 years had a lot of problem because they would bring Gene was dying essentially, and they just the showrunners they had were they brought over people like DC Fontana from the original series, but they were ignored in lieu of people who were basically pandering to Gene Roddenberry.
So did Gene Roddenberry die in the middle of...
He died season 4, I think.
Yeah.
He died season 4.
Yeah, so...
But he was really checked out, and he ran a lot of stuff through his lawyer, who has no production things, and he brought in writers who were not sci-fi writers to be showrunners.
That's why we had, like, the Miami Vice episode,
What?
for example.
Well, that guy wrote many, many episodes of Next Generation. That was not his only episode.
No, he wrote. He was the head writer for a couple of seasons.
The way that I saw it was, as Gene became more ill, you saw less presence on the set and in the writer's room, so that means that slowly people were able to be creative in their own way, writing better and better stories.
It was when Rick Berman took over is when it got, which was right around season 3 is when when he started saying nope, standardization.
Yeah, Berman brought it.
And he took that into Deep Space Nine with him. He said, if they say this now, we have to remember it because it could come up later. Mm-hmm. And that's when you started seeing uniforms look standard. They stopped doing the alternate admiral uniforms every other episode. And it was one of those, this is a paramilitary organization. They need to look and act paramilitary.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. By Star Trek: The Next Generation, I mean Next Generation's First Generation, a podcast that specializes in watching and listening to the show and having general hijinks and commentary. I am your host, Sascha Shouties, and to my right I have...
Patrick Delmore.
Yay! And then to the right is the lovely... We know that person. It's that person.
Yay!
Gemline Shouties. And then to my left, we have Mr. Matt.
Thank you.
Also me.
Yeah.
I think Matt's more right than I am.
Oh. He's so far right, he's left.
I'm always right.
I better watch myself, or are you going to left this conversation? Okay.
Viewers now.
So, here's the fun today. It is... in the wonderful time travel world. It is July 10th where you are. I hope you're having a fun post-July 4th holiday. Today, you get to listen to the episode Peak Performance. And this is our last good episode for Season 2 before we get into the dumpster fire, which is the Shades of Grey clip show. But for all intents and purposes, this is the last serious content episode for Season 2. Am I just about?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, cool. So we would like you folks to cue up your gramophones or old televisions or VCRs or DVDs or Netflixes. We are watching on the Netflixes today.
Grandma phone.
Grandma phones, yes. And we're going to give you the countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1. Oh, there's the Enterprise.
Whoa.
Really nice shuttle.
I like that he says that he has misgivings about doing this with the Zakdorns, but he's so excited for Riker's trial by fire in this. I mean, he's practically bouncing on his heels the whole time. Now, this Zakdorn guy is, I don't know the name of the character actor. Sascha, if you have your pad, you can tell us, but he's kind of a Truman Capote type. Sort of a fake, chubby little man that everybody has to listen to in the room but doesn't like.
Yeah, his name is Roy Brocksmith.
Now, is this high def right now?
Yeah, yes. This is definitely high definition.
So it's not off the DVD. Oh, you just
Correct.
said it was Netflix.
Yeah.
Because the ship looked way different.
I know. You can totally tell the difference between the two.
So he was Dr. Edgemar in Total Recall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our second Total Recall person.
He was a police sergeant in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Both are movies that have not been made yet at the time this came out. We'll probably cover Total Recall next year in our Shore Leave series.
Mm-hmm. But he was character typed for a nerdy, pudgy appearance.
Yeah.
And it got him into a lot of comic roles. And he has just a ton of movies. I'm thinking by your opening comment there, Patrick, how Picard is feeling has some misgivings, but he's really happy that Riker can do his test by fire. Is that, remember, everybody aboard the Enterprise says we are not a warship first.
Yeah.
We're not here for battle, but we'll be ready for battle should it come.
Mm-hmm.
And so here they have to practice war and battle, and I think that would make Picard a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, and, definitely the people that believe in Gene's vision of the show where they say that it's non-military. But, I mean, the thesis statement for the recent series, Discovery, was the Klingons talking about how when they say we come in peace, that's directly to say that, we're prepared for war.
Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning, Data was saying that there's this race that's that has a reputation for being the most intelligent.
Yeah.
The military strategist.
Oh, military strategist.
Who this guy represents.
Which I think was really interesting that Worf was saying, well, can they prove that in combat? And I think Data said no. And Worf said, well, then there really isn't a reputation.
He said no one's been ever willing to test them in combat.
Oh.
Their reputation is so big that people are like, nope, I'm not going to try it.
I mean, yes, you can prove your military strategy skill through combat, but wouldn't it be more through just formation and talking about what they would do?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at World War II, Eisenhower had practically no combat experience, but he was promoted to Supreme Allied Commander.
So I don't think you necessarily have to prove that in combat.
Well, that's the whole idea of military strategy. If you have the concepts down, you can build a strategy, and you don't need to be that buff guy that fires the cannon as long as you can give orders to the buff guy who fires the cannon.
So were they just talking military strategy there?
Yes.
And then Riker is like, well, we're better than you. Care to surrender?
So what we talked over was they're starting up a contest. So the Federation, for all intents and purposes, hired this guy, Roy, Surna Kolmari, I think is his name, or something like that.
Huh.
So they hired him to facilitate these war games. And they found an abandoned Federation ship. And they're going to take the half the crew and put them on the abandoned ship that Will Riker is going to command, and they have a day to fix the ship, and then they're going to pit the Enterprise and the abandoned ship called the Hathaway against each other, and the idea is to say, well, how good are you? You're going to face impossible odds, we're going to kick your butt, and Riker just says, no, prepare to surrender.
So it's like the Hunger Games.
Kind of. They even say the only reason they're entertaining this from the Zakdorns is because of the Borg attack.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah, because
of the Borg?
The Borg haven't attacked yet, but because they met the Borg, gave their report, and so now Starfleet's going, we need to do more tactical combat.
Okay, well, that makes sense then. I thought they were just pitting themselves against each other just to do it, but no, there's a reason.
The race that he represents is more used to doing this kind of stuff than the Federation is.
Okay.
So that's why he's facilitating that rather than having an admiral on the ship.
Yeah.
That makes sense then.
And so, again, this is a war game, so it's for fun and strategy. It's not for we're really going to kill you.
Okay.
Oh, so Will gets to pick his 40 best people. So the question I had when I was a child, and I still don't know the answer now, the Zach Dorn guy here, is he in command of this mission?
No.
Or is he just an advisor?
He's the observer. He's gonna be the guy that writes the report.
Okay.
Picard will probably write a report for Starfleet, but for everybody else, like, this is something that, everybody in the galaxy that's aware of the Federation is paying very close attention to, and it's going to be him that they hear stuff from, because I would assume Picard's report to Starfleet will be confidential. Mm-hmm. The Zach Dorn guy, everybody's probably going to read what he has to say about it.
Yeah, so think of it like a military exercise. You have, for the Navy, doing their stuff, and then this guy would be like the guy that the Senate sends to observe and write his report and
I gotcha.
Make his recommendations.
There's almost like a third-party thing going on.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jem, you noticed something.
I did. Well, their data and... Well, I saw Picard just, being very almost arrogant in his captain-like ways. He's like, well, I run my ship well, and my way of running the ship is the right way, and that I trust my first officer. And then, I guess... The guest star, I forget his name already, the Roy guy, he's like, well, that's not how I run my ship. That's not how we do it. And again, like the episodes that we just recorded, where Picard is like, my way is the best way, and nobody else in the universe or whatever, in the Starfleet, runs their ship better than I do.
Mm.
But he needs to be able to project that air of confidence.
Yeah.
Because if you went to the flagship of the Federation and the captain was wishy-washy and giving in, you wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's his thing. It's Picard's like, hey, I run my ship. You can make your comments, but just make sure you understand it's my ship.
We're getting to see right now a couple of the Worf props that come up all the time. That statue in front of him. Yeah, the statue in front of him, and then that weird chair thing that he's got with all the black lollipop chair, I guess.
I didn't even know that Worf had an office.
No, that's his quarters.
Oh.
And if you see all that broken wood on the desk, we talked right over that he was building a model ship. Huh. And it broke. The pieces broke in his hand. He was so tense when the doorbell rang, he snapped one of the pieces in his hand.
Is there somebody else that's big into model ships?
Geordi made one for somebody.
That's right.
But it's absolutely hilarious. So in that scene... Basically, Worf was trying to relax very unsuccessfully in his quarters when Riker comes in and says, hey, I want you to be on my team. We're going to be in an impossible situation. You're going to be outmanned, outgunned, under-resourced. How would you like to come? And Worf kind of says, yeah, I'll go along on that ride. And they take Wesley.
It appears we'll have some time before reaching Braslota. I was wondering if you'd agree to play me in a game of Stratagema.
Stratagema. The way that he says, like, Braslota and Stratagema. I am an important person. Listen to me enunciate.
An opponent of limited dimensions can often be quite diverting.
You'll be fun to beat, is what he said.
Yeah.
So Riker says, I'd like to play you at this game of chess.
Yeah.
Basically, space chess.
Yeah. Sure, I'll play you, Commander. Bless your heart.
Well, I think it's kind of cool that Data is the sobering voice in this whole thing, where he's saying the Braslota, is that the race that... Anyway.
No, that's the system they're going to.
Oh. Well, this guy, the captain of this other ship...
I don't like Geordi in this role. They should have had Wesley be the one walking down the hall with him. It's like the you can get him, Rocco? Shut up.
So I thought this would be a really great way to paint your fingernails. Putting these little plugs on your fingers.
Kind of like when you go and get your hair dyed.
It's basically... Sorry, we're coughing all over the place today. This is basically, it's a bio-input game.
Riker's got some good...
it's the future version of the Nintendo Wii.
But they're wires.
You won't need wires. Makes me think of a movie we're going to be covering in Shore Leave, You gotta use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
Yeah.
But I kind of like how Data is not taking any sides. He's just like, yes, the captain of this other ship is very confident, and he's got reasons to be so because he's really good at what he does.
Yeah, I think he's an advisor, but that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still he's the outsider.
Yeah.
And so Will's challenging this outsider to a game just for the privilege of playing, because this outsider happens to be the best person at this game.
So why don't you like Geordi in this episode?
I don't like how Geordi's going down the hall being all excited about what Riker's going to do and asking him how he's going to do it. That's more of a Wesley role.
Oh, I haven't seen this episode.
It should be Reggie running down with him like, and then you're going to get the girl, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Where's the girl?
Quaint.
All Riker wanted to do was show that he was not intimidated by the Zakdorn guy. That's all his goal. That's all his goal was.
He just wanted.
Everybody else was like, "Oh, you're going to mop the floor with him."
It's just it's the thrill of going up. It's like saying you're going to play football with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
I'm going to catch
You're not
a ball.
going to win by at all, but it's like I got to be on the field with him.
I'm going to catch a ball that Russell Wilson throws.
Yeah. And then he just knocks you right on your ass.
Now this ship, the Hathaway, is this the same type of ship as the Stargazer was?
Yes, it is. Constellation class.
Yeah, because we're going to see a shot later on in this that's basically from that Stargazer episode of them.
No way.
Yeah, they recycle a lot of the old footage.
It's a great ship. I honestly like that missing generation ships a lot better than the original series or the next gen ships. We don't see a lot of the new next gen ships other than the Enterprise and the Nebulas. We see a lot of the older leftover, like the Overwrath.
Yeah, they explain that up until the Borg, the Wolf 359 with the Borg, they didn't feel the need to have. They said our ships do what our ships do. I mean. The Excelsior class is well over 100 years old. So is the Miranda class and stuff.
A couple of very 1989 things in this episode. Number one is these flashlights they're carrying. Now, eventually they have flashlights that just fit in the palm of their hand. But these ones they're holding, you might remember, I certainly grew up having a flashlight that looked just like this in the house.
Oh, I got one of those in my garage.
Yeah, plugged right into the power outlet and had that handle on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's about the ships. So what they did they explained after the Borg is they started doing new ship design.
Mm-hmm.
And basically updating the fleet.
Yeah. They almost look like they stole pieces of that set from one of the movies.
This is a mix from what I remember, what I read, is a mix of the bridge components from the season 1 bridge. And some of the movies. So you've got like the consoles in the back are movie era consoles. The captain's chair is from the original bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing with the control arms there.
Yeah.
Control panel things.
My question is, when they came on board, someone took the time to throw tarps over the chairs, but they left all that wiring just hanging. It's like a half-assed cleanup.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the engine room with the warp core. Geordi's going to try to turn it on. Hey, we've got lights. You can really show off your pod collection down here, Geordi.
Doesn't it seem weird that this chamber that he's about to open is right above a console like that? It's like I would not want to be the guy that worked there.
They did a really good job making that model shine in the HD. That is an odd place to put the chamber.
Why is Wesley there?
He was invited by Riker to be part of this.
I missed that.
So they're on the Hathaway right there.
Oh.
Yeah, they're on the broken ship, and they got to fix it.
Left in the holding clamps. Even if we had crystals that were intact, there's no antimatter to fuel the drive.
Bad crystals, no antimatter. Basically, it's all technobabble saying, shit's broke. We can't fix it.
No, sir.
Remember, our purpose is to improvise.
So to improvise. So the idea is that you're basically given an ironclad battleship. Now go against this nuclear submarine. How well can you do?
I believe the rules are understood.
Did they ever say where Picard's desk crystal's from?
No, they never get into it.
Huh.
gift shop with Starbase.
Yeah.
Well, they were looking at the crystal that was in the Hathaway, and I'm like,
but that's the thing is, they kind of get into this that people collect things that the captains have. So if you saw Picard buy a crystal like that at a Starbase, it would immediately bump up the price of every crystal that looks just like it, because it's like, oh, you got to get this. You know, Captain of the flagship's got one on his desk.
Huh.
They talk about that in Deep Space Nine, where they got a guy who goes around and he sneaks into captain's ready rooms and gets their picture taken. Picture taken behind the desks.
Yeah, and so I think in that episode they actually shipped the desk off the station to get the photo.
Yeah,
oh, it was
because he needed some part for the Defiant. But they know they referenced Captain Picard's ready room.
This is really important right here. Pulaski is basically forcing Data to compete into a game.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a machine. Why should I want to fight him? I don't blame you. It's no fun to lose against a machine, especially when you know you're going to lose.
See, this is the sole reason why I always feel like Pulaski cannot be redeemed, because she has these little steps of redeeming herself by being nice to everybody else and respecting everybody else, but I don't think she ever comes around to respecting Data.
Yeah, and then now she's like, Data, you have to cover me. And I was going to be like, but you've kind of been a bee to me this whole last year.
Right.
So I'm going to let you hang now for getting yourself into something you can't get out of.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen with Data, and my complaint about this is more of an if I ran the zoo, I would have done this different complaint, but he's going to lose against this guy in the game, and then he's going to have a crisis of confidence.
Oh yeah.
All they would have needed to say, and Pulaski does say that you know, human emotion, android algorithms, is that basically in the programs that are there, like the dreaming program that Data has later, and making him human, there's a doubt thing, and you're never going to know what's going to trigger it. So the next time he has a crisis of confidence, which he will, it's going to be triggered a different way, and you can't get rid of it without turning him off.
Yeah.
By losing a game, he could lose a game again and be just fine, but something else could happen, and he would have a doubt reaction to it.
So before, when they opened this chamber to get the crystals out, they had to pull a panel off. Now apparently there's like nothing on the other side because we could clearly just look through it.
Yeah.
So
there's a 70s game show going on.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's definitely got that aesthetic.
And behind this door, we have Bachelorette number 1, Bachelor number 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's LeVar Burton and Will Wheaton. What's going on? We were just fixing the Enterprise. What's Chuck Barris doing
It looked like a styrofoam bathtub model that they were looking at.
That I love, that he just pulls that coaxial cable out of the ceiling. And
you just want to hear, warning, warp core breach.
So what were they I missed that part. What were they just talking about?
They said they needed antimatter to make the crystals do whatever crystals do, and then Wesley decided, hey, I need to go back to the Enterprise to get something. And then runs away real quick.
They were talking about that, blonde extra.
She said, how am I going to have the material to do such and such, and Worf just sticks his hand up and yanks down a bunch of coaxial cable.
I thought she was talking about how there was going to be a fake image or something, and that was going to mess with...
Oh yeah, Worf's going to create a fake thing, basically hack the Enterprise computer and make it think they're under attack.
So that guy right there, his name's Burke, the character's name. His name's called Glenn Grove Morshower, and he plays a Secret Service agent in 24. He's also in Transformers and X-Men.
I just call him Lieutenant Ginger. And
he plays a lot of military and government agent roles. That's what he's cast as.
Yeah. And he plays the rank jerk. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
The Zach Dorn really likes him, though. Really likes him.
Well, so what Wesley basically did was that he stole materials from the Enterprise, claiming it was an experiment that he needed to take care of. And instead of disposing it, he's beamed this component over to help the Hathaway cheat. So you see it, people. Wesley cheated.
Yeah.
But he convinces Riker that, no, I was just improvising, like you said.
Yeah, but he's flat out cheating, and that'll come up later when he cheats at the Academy.
Yeah, that's right. That's a different Wesley in the Academy.
Yeah, but it just shows us that he's willing to do it multiple times.
That's disappointing. I thought Wesley was pretty...
Oh, well, he goes through phases just like any other person.
Okay.
It's like Natalie Portman's older sister back there in the gray cat suit.
Right?
Whoa, hey, Burke was also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Huh.
The movie, right?
No, the TV show. He was in episode Help.
Oh, okay. So not a main character.
And he was Sheriff McReady in Star Trek Enterprise.
I feel like this is a low-key boxing match with all of these people, or like a Vegas, craps game or something.
Yeah, so Data just lost. He's like, I don't get it.
Computer beaten by flesh and blood?
Yes, Pulaski.
Now, remember, at this time, there was hype over computers beating chess players.
Yeah.
This is very relevant to the time. Back
Okay.
then, that was a big deal. We have yet to develop a computer that can beat a human player at chess. And that happened, I want to say, either in the late 80s, right around now, or the early 90s.
Could you imagine if this was like a person that they were talking to and not a
robot?
A robot, yeah. How could you lose? It's like, you're 15 and you're in college.
Right.
It's the what's the doctor show?
Doogie Howser?
Doogie Howser
Yeah.
effect.
Yes.
How could you fail? I don't know. I read all the manuals.
I think Doogie Howser did have that episode too, where he just realized that he's not as good as he thought he was. It's the same kind of thing. There's a crisis of confidence.
Well, this whole episode's about crisis of confidence. So right here, you're going to see Picard dress down Mr. Kohlrami for talking bad about Riker in front of everybody else. Well, he sucked at playing the game.
There's a lot of legitimate criticisms to be made of Commander Riker.
Yeah.
We put it out on our Facebook page. What has Riker done that's won this respect from Captain Picard? And the best answer was for Mike Zumo was the Data's trial in Measure of a Man.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise,
That's
he could
fair.
be any ambitious young first officer just trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, and there's also giving up the power of the Q.
Yeah.
That's a lot to give up. Having to walk away from godlike power. That's a character thing.
He only did that when he realized that he couldn't be his same old snobby self.
Right, but you still walk away. I mean, he could easily just say, if you have that power, you snap your fingers and make all this and just force everyone to like you.
True. Well, he's basically giving him the sales pitch right now, saying, you know what? He gives his life and duty for the ship.
So that's his reason. That's Picard's reason that he gets all of that acclaim, is because he has loyalty to the ship and he serves the ship well.
And Mr. Kohlrami says, we're not basing this on loyalty or faith. You're basing it on strategy. And until now, we really haven't seen much from Riker. Other than being a good target.
Certainly Kohlrami hasn't, no.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, too, what Picard said is his joviality is his selling point. And I've not seen Picard talk about somebody's personality as being a strength before.
True.
In watching this with Data's crisis of confidence, I was imagining, Troy giving him, a magic magnet or something to make him be like, if you hold this, nothing can stop you.
Now, in the Red Dwarf episode, it would be like a refrigerator magnet that you put on your head. Oh, no, that was Futurama.
Yeah.
You can handle defeat in two ways.
So, one thing that is really interesting is that Troy never brings up there's a cliche running around now. You can do everything right and still fail. But here, he's trying to find something wrong with him.
He should already know this, but again, all I would need to say is that, when he had, something like, when he had his psych test at the academy, they couldn't figure out how to do one for Data.
Oh, Is that
no,
your
I'm just
speculation?
Thinking, it's speculation. Like, yes, we're doing this entrance exam, but there really isn't anything we can put Data through that's going to psych him out.
That would have been maybe his psych test is not being good enough.
Yeah, but again, the idea would be that he would have an algorithm where it would come up every time, but they wouldn't know. They haven't seen any of Dr. Sung's work until it happened with Lore.
Yeah, they're hooking up Wesley's disco ball. Oh, Riker's about to realize you've cheated.
Wes?
It deals with high energy plasma reactions with antimatter.
And you stole it.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Does Riker ever become captain?
Yes,
Okay.
but not until the movies.
Okay.
And that might be one of the reasons why they're doing this, is an assessment. Because after this is when he starts getting more offers to command ships.
He's already turned down one offer to be a captain of a ship.
But that was a deep space research mission.
Yeah.
And that may not be...
he would have been he would have advanced in rank. He would have been a captain forever after.
But Riker says he's all about the camaraderie, the family in serving on a ship.
Yeah, so other ships don't have families and have large crews. A deep space research ship, for all we know, could have been a small Miranda class or even an Oberth class, where it's just 20 or 30 scientists going off and studying meteors.
I'd love to have a Nova. Or what are those
are the
little ones?
That's another small... That's what replaced the Oberth as a science vessel. I'd want an Intrepid class.
Alright, so here's Pulaski browbeating Data. You can fool everybody, but you can't fool me. But what do you think she's trying to get at here? What's the point of this conversation?
I'm sure she bet money heavily on Data.
You know what No, but this is what I think is they were trying to show the difference between Troy's reaction to Data's failure and Pulaski's reaction to Data's failure.
So, let's analyze that for a second. What is Pulaski trying to get at here?
That, your computer, you're not supposed to be...
You can't experience emotion. This is a human emotion. Why is my toaster?
Exactly, like
get over sorry for burning my toast.
Get over it. You're Data. You're not human. And it was a really interesting juxtaposition from when Troy came to him with initially trying to talk about his emotions, and Data's like, but I don't have emotions. And she's like, oh, right, okay. But still.
That was a cool little hop that Wesley did there.
Yeah.
A little Worf jump.
Showing off to Riker.
I want to see the outtakes and see how many times he missed that. And just face planted right behind them.
That's the other big thing, is that Geordi would have been the one normally to get Data out of his funk.
Yeah,
he's
well, Data's not on the ship.
I know he's not.
Yeah, I know. He'd be like, come on, Data. Need a belly rub.
How does Geordi...
Data want a treat?
How would you think that Geordi would handle that? How would you think that Data would get him out of that?
He'd do it a lot like Troy or Picard. A mix of Troy and Picard. Be like encouraging, but Data, we need you. You need to snap out of this.
But would he recognize that you don't have... Would he say you don't have emotions? Or...
He might hint at it a little bit like, well, this Data, he'd like a surprise. Like, Data, I didn't think you would process it this way.
Process versus emotion.
But now we've got... The two approached, Troy and Pulaski approached Data separately, and now they're coming together to Picard to explain that something's wrong.
Yeah, that's basically saying, it's like saying, Pulaski broke Data, and now we need you to fix him.
Yeah, fix Data. Pulaski broke it.
And that could be one of the reasons why Picard decided to dump Pulaski. He's just like, I've had enough of this.
Oh, and here's Data's about to resign right here.
As first officer for the mission, not from Starfleet.
Yeah.
But this would be the conversation Geordi would have with him. He'd be like, Data, why do you think you're second officer of this ship and I'm chief engineer? And, well, Geordi, because people saw something in you that they don't see in me yet.
Ha.
So either way, he has to go to the bridge to give his answer. What? Oh, hey, he does say the thing.
And still lose.
You can do everything right and still lose. And
but Data should know this already.
This is not a weekend.
This has to have happened to him before.
This is like toddler psychology 101 right here.
It's possible it hasn't, because this might be the first time he's been in this level of command.
I don't know. This is like Star Wars level philosophy right here. It's pretty basic.
It is, but it could be that he's always been an operations person where they give him simple yes or no tasks. And now, when he joined the Enterprise, is the first time he's been in a third officer position, or second officer actually is what he is.
But this isn't the first time he's been in command.
The guy, this is like stuff that even the guy that wanted to disassemble him in Measure of a Man would have made sure that he'd gone through when they were working together in the first place.
How cool would it be if we had that guy on the crew constantly dogging Data?
Oh yeah, if he had come on instead of Kohlrami, it would have been 1 billion times better of an episode.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They would have had to have changed it and given Data command of the Hathaway to judge his abilities to do it.
If you're so worried about this, why don't you take this opportunity? And so Riker would step down and give the chair to Data of the Hathaway. Is that what you're suggesting?
That, or Riker would take command of the Enterprise and Picard would just be an observer.
And that's the other thing, is Data has had command of the Enterprise several times. We've seen him in the captain's chair.
So this is an interesting conversation here between nature. What is Riker going to do? And actually, Data correctly anticipates one of Riker's moves of using sensor echoes as a ploy.
Then despite whatever options he is given, he must be
the man that he is, exactly.
Instead of failing in humans.
Oh, what does that mean? He's going to be the man he is.
That's just sad what that says about their relationship.
Who?
She's Troy and Riker's past relationship. That something came up where she offered him something and he goes, I can't. It's like I won't make any I won't make any choice based on what you tell me, Troy. I'm gonna do whatever I want. I have to be the man that I am. Yeah. Okay.
Look at that smile he's got. He's got this really arrogant smile, kind of like.
Oh, Picard is having so much fun.
Oh yeah.
And I liked Data's response to that. It was like, well, is that a human failing? And Troy was like, well...
this is a big game. They're all gonna...
Oh, totally.
I'd be excited to do something like this, too. It's basically like a Star Trek version of a water balloon fight. It's like, alright, let's get wet.
Or I like dodgeball better. Or capture the flag.
Well, it's like, Riker's got a water balloon, but I have the garden hose.
So now Mr. Worf is going to project false images and make it look like a real ship's coming.
Yeah.
Which is good foreshadowing to what's about to happen. Beautiful shot there.
Oh, yeah.
Now
Do they know that this is fake?
No, they don't.
They will in a minute.
They think that's real. And he's getting his butt kicked. So they're doing the so these are fake shots. They're not real shots. It's just like they're gonna do simulated damage.
Huh.
Yeah, they used back in the 80s and the 90s a thing called the Miles laser system for simulated military combat for the Army.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that was. We basically fire a laser beam. You'd wear a sensor that would register.
Just like laser tag, yeah.
So it's basically ship-to-ship laser tag. The fun thing that's going to happen is that what makes the episode fun is they can't turn off laser tag mode when they need to use it.
Mm.
Well, they can, but their ship is damaged, so in the process gets fried. But.
So much posture. Slightly off.
Riker's like, I missed this chair. I can pose so much easier.
He's sitting like his back hurts. Or that like he's got some
and
fire
he's
down.
On one side.
Thunder
yeah.
down.
It's like he didn't adjust the lumbar support correctly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So here's a Ferengi ship is now showing up. They think it's another trick, but look out! Here it comes. Oh, it's a real ship. Real damage. That's such a cool ship.
I know. We did. It was funny because when
when Deep Space Nine was on, I didn't remember any times we'd seen Ferengi ships on this. There was a Micro Machine set that had a Ferengi ship in it, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
I'm sorry, but do extras always have this many lines?
Only if they're in a position. So the only reason Burke is talking, is because Worf is on the other ship, and they need someone to speak for tactical.
Oh, okay. Because they got that guy, and then they got the blonde girl. And I don't remember any.
Nagel over there.
Yeah, when you need to fill in bridge crew positions, they get to talk.
Yeah,
otherwise,
he's Burke and she's Nagel.
I just don't ever remember seeing either of them.
In the later seasons, Star Trek makes good use of their extras. Okay. I mean, they make them work for their money. In fact, I think the extras are sometimes better actors than the crew themselves.
Oh yeah, it looks like a stingray.
Oh, look who it is! Do you recognize these actors? I'm going to give you one clue. So these two actors here. One is Armin Shimerman. That is
Shimerman, yeah.
Shimerman. That's Quark.
Right. Okay.
Yep. And he's been in a lot of Star Trek.
Yes, he has.
And then the other guy, his name is David Lander, and he was the in the Laverne and Shirley show. If you remember.
Who did he play on Laverne and Shirley?
Oh, I knew you'd ask me that. Hold on just a second.
I just think it's funny that they clearly have taken an astromech from the Star Wars universe and made it into the top of the console there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they show throughout all the series that Ferengi use round-like technology interfaces. Yeah. The Minds thing they had in the other episode.
But the lights are square in the background. What the hell, man? In the background.
And then even in Deep Space Nine, they continue that when they show things. But they've shown the Ferengi Marauder in the Last Outpost, and the one where Picard goes nuts. With the
battle.
Yeah, the battle. So you've seen it pretty frequently in.
So if you have not been watching along, a real enemy ship comes and shoots up the Enterprise, disables them, and says, "Why are you now protecting this smaller, less valuable ship when you were just fighting it out a few minutes ago? What does that other ship have of value? What can we steal?" So basically, they're getting mugged.
Oh.
And they say, if you don't surrender, we're going to destroy you. Which is pretty ballsy because, I mean, like, that's the flagship of the Federation, and there they've got the beautiful logo of the Ferengi Commerce Authority there on the side.
Ferengi Alliance.
Ferengi Alliance, my bad. You know, you think they'd be a little bit more casual.
Well, you gotta wonder, why is the Federation doing a war game outside of their territory where the Ferengi can just kind of wander around? You think they'd choose, like, a site well within their boundaries, and they would have support things around so people don't wander into it and be like, hey.
Yeah, the biggest thing Picard would have been like is, I don't want Kolrami on my ship at all. He can, run odds or whatever from the space station where he can just look out the window and see what we're doing.
Or a shuttlecraft sitting somewhere.
Yeah, come up on the bridge, and he's about to rub his butt all over Burke here in a minute, too.
Well, see, he's really out of line right now.
Yeah.
Because the conversation is, so he's considered the senior authority on strategy. That's the only reason why he's still there.
Yeah.
And
There's no authority in Starfleet.
And he's saying, you know what? Give the Ferengi what you want. Just leave. And let 40 of those people to possibly die at the hands of the Ferengi.
And statistically, I mean, and then that is, it has been considered sound military strategy in the past, where you
cut them loose.
Well, it's what goes back to Spock, the needs of the many. Sacrifice 40 to save 1,000.
Yeah, but no man gets left behind here.
Well, that's a human concept.
Yeah.
Remember, we got to think galactically here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Worf is prepared to die on the ship to save the Enterprise. That's a Klingon concept.
Yeah, Worf is ready to die for anything. He's like, I will...
The last banana, I will fight you for the...
Yeah, pretty much. So they're working out a plot here where if the Hathaway can go to warp for just a fraction of a second, because that's all they have, just to make a quick little jump, and then for the Enterprise to time firing their photon torpedoes, it will look like they destroyed the Hathaway rather than giving it to the Ferengi, and maybe the Ferengi will give up. So it's like basically the Picard maneuver plus.
Well, it ends up becoming known as the Riker maneuver.
Really?
Yeah.
So he just pulls out really quick, huh? Sorry.
More like a hit and run. It's like a hit and run.
Poor Jem, you're in so much pain right now. I can see it all over your face.
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Probably a good idea.
Next week on Next Generation's First Generation.
You got the name right.
And good night, everybody.
Yeah.
So we're posturing with the Ferengi.
This is like the top of R2-D2 there.
This is a good
That's what I
bluff.
said. It's an astromech that they
I like Picard bluffs. They're a lot of fun. So they blew up the ship.
Ow.
And they have to pretend like they really blew them up. This conversation would be better with a Romulan than a Ferengi.
Well, it would be a lot more serious with a Romulan.
Or Cardassian. That would have been
Cardassians
yet.
Well, no, they did. Picard fought the Cardassians in the Cardassian War before the Stargazer.
But this would have been a good introduction to that species.
This is supposed to be the B plot. This is a really late.
No, the B plot is the Data doesn't have confidence.
Oh.
Yeah. And so what happened was to basically resolve what we just saw, they blew up the Hathaway. The Ferengi said, I didn't realize you have so much iron. Well, we're going to destroy you anyway. Then Riker does his whole ship sensor projector thingy on the Ferengi, and the Ferengi says, well, they got backup. We better get out of here. And they leave, which is just dumb.
I must admit, your Commander Riker acquitted himself.
Quite admirably. So all of a sudden, this dude just totally backpedals, and Picard's like, could you stop talking?
Yeah, Picard's like, the door's over there, man.
Yeah.
just use it.
So he just taps her on the back.
Just use the butt pack.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like that
brother.
makes me think of Kathy Bates in Primary Colors, where she comes in to work on the campaign and basically buys Esri Dax.
Yeah. Okay, so look at that. Look at those doors. The
Or no, it's not Esri
doors.
Dax. It's Kimberly Williams.
So pretty.
Yeah.
So pretty.
I don't think I've seen those doors before.
Oh, they've been around. So there we go. Another another fight between Data and this guy. And he's looking visibly upset. Data is in machine mode. So they're both kind of playing to their stereotype. That's what I look like when I type on the keyboard.
Wait, which one?
Yeah.
Constipated.
Yeah, all the time. He's got this perfect Mark Zuckerberg look on his face right now. Why did you stop? Not a rematch. So
You made a mockery of yourself.
I was like, wasn't that the whole point, though, was to make a mockery of him? I mean,
pretty much.
So look at this guy in the back with the white shirt. He's just wearing a typical 80s sweater.
Yeah,
and it
look at
has
that. There's words on it too.
I was watching on my phone. It says Pacific Ocean and all this other stuff on it. It's just kind of
it's old
supposed to look like a
navigational
map.
lines.
Yeah,
That's great. Maybe that's the inspiration, the opening theme for Enterprise right there. He's got faith of the heart.
Dun dun dun.
Oh well. So anyway, what Data is saying is I didn't beat him. I played to stall. I didn't play to win. So really all Data did was he changed his strategy and got his head back in the game.
You're asking about the lounge there. Did you see those windows in the back? That was the observation lounge.
Okay.
As you're flying away.
Well, so that was that episode. Yeah. What'd we all think? How many rematches of stratagem was that?
I give it 4 out of 5. I would just, I would get rid of, what's his name, Kohlrani entirely. Have it something different. But again, it's an if I ran the zoo complaint. Other than that, it's a fine episode.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with it. I loved it as a kid. Because I just got to see different things outside of the Enterprise. I always like it when they bring in new ships. It was a good personality episode. I got to see Worf smash a wooden sailboat, which I thought was kind of funny, when he was trying to do his arts and crafts there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like a hidden nugget. So yeah, I'd have to give it about a 4 out of 5 rematches. What I didn't understand is they never resolved the Pulaski Troy man versus machine thing. They just let Data play to a forfeiture and gave him a slap on the back saying congratulations, but they didn't actually resolve anything or go anywhere. So, Mr. Matt.
I give it a 4 out of 5 also. I really like this episode. For similar reasons. You got to see more stuff. I always like it when they have the spaceship battles too.
Yeah.
And they're doing the, that kind of thing was good. Seeing a different bridge and stuff like that. I didn't have as much problem with Sono Karami at all with it. He served a purpose. They needed an outside pompous ass.
Well, that was his job.
Yeah, I mean...
We're going to hire you to be a jerk.
Pretty much. It's like, I mean... If you think about the movie Office Space, he's one of the Bobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a Bob.
Yeah. What my job is to come in here and assess productivity and efficiency to maximize the whatever. It's just and stuff like that. And it's like you don't have the authority to get rid of me, but
here I am.
But you're still the manager, but I can say whatever I want, and you don't have to do it, but you can't stop me from talking. Yeah, Jen?
I think I would also give it a solid 4 out of 5, which is a surprise we all have the same rating of it. I went into it not thinking that I would like it, because Sascha informed me that it was a very technical episode, but there was so much character development in it as well that I was able to enjoy it. And I really liked, seeing Data get developed and having him have some sort of crisis. And I liked having the Pulaski and Troy interplay there. Like, that was all very interesting to me, that all of the technical stuff kind of fell to the wayside, and I was able to appreciate that part. Yeah, I liked it much more than I thought I was going to.
A very consistent answer across the board.
Yeah, I like to think this is the episode where Picard finally decided, we need to get rid of Dr. Pulaski. I'm going to start searching hot jobs and see what I can find.
We'll completely blame Pulaski for doing that, because she stands firm about how she feels about Data, and she's like, get over it.
Yeah, but it's one of those, keep poking everybody and pissing everybody off.
Yeah, she's a character where I wish they went into more about why it didn't work out with her. We'll talk more about that in the next episode, Shades of Grey, which is a clip show episode. But they do have some moments in there. Also, I wish they kept more antagonists on the show to prompt character development, because with a constant antagonist like Pulaski, you're always going to have to be challenging somebody with where they stand. It's a lot easier to have an alien come in one episode, challenge you, and then they leave and you never see them again. But to be constantly reminded, here's who you are, where do you need to be, and what challenges you. That's why I like to have the jerks around, because it reminds you where you came from. Well, we're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you for joining us on Next Generation's First Generation. Tune in next week for Shades of Grey. And until then, I'd like to say, have a great day. Everybody go to the bathroom.
Next time on Star Trek, The Next Generation. Commander Riker is invaded by an alien parasite.
My whole leg just went dead.
Their growth rate is doubled.
It's attacking his brain, and nothing can stop it.
Respiration is erratic, pulse grossly irregular, blood pressure almost nil.
Can anything save him from a tragic death?
Hang on, Will. Hang on.
Find out next time on Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Why am I interviewing you guys?
So you're the guest.
So Sascha, what is Star Trek
Hi,
Next Generation?
I'm the guest.
So Sascha, what is Star Trek Next Generation?
Seek us out at Next Generation's First Generation at iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Music credits include Electric Car by Poddington Bear, Broke for Free, As Colorful as Ever, Telecom Extended Remix by Lee Rosevere, Goodnight Kiss by Movie Theater, Audio engineering by Sascha Shouties. Chief Meme Maker and episode cover credit goes to Matthew Kirshner. Logo and graphic art design credit goes to David Clawwitter. And special thanks to Patrick Delmore for working with other podcasts to make sure the good word gets out.
Do you have a podcast that you think people should be listening to? Send us your promos and we'll play them on the show. If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sascha Shouties. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.
Good night.